Folks, welcome back to the show where it's not wrestling with your budget. It's not wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion. And we are exactly halfway through the year here in 2023 on the eve of July 1st. And we are on the eve of Money in the Bank, where careers, futures, and superstars, can change for the landscape of the WWE and much, much more. And speaking of changing the landscape of your weekend, get to the place to buy a case, Outlet Liquor, the official sponsor of Wrestling with Emotion and the official place to buy a case here for Trainwreck Sports. But let's get them in here. You know the panel. It's Rob Ryan. It's Mike Partham. Gents, how are we feeling heading into Money in the Bank this weekend?
I'm feeling great. It's that time of the year where stuff starts picking up because we got one of the big fours coming up in SummerSlam, and Money in the Bank is always one of those ones where it always starts those storylines for the biggest party of the summer.
How about this? A rare Wrestling with Emotion After Dark.
Seriously, a little bit later show. We typically do them in the mornings on the day of, but this will give you the full night before. A little bit play in with Nickel City Con tomorrow, obviously in Buffalo. We will have the Icon Sting in Buffalo tomorrow, so we'll see if Slick and I can get a quick word with him there. But obviously all focus going into this weekend on the WWE, on what they're doing in England.
Wait, are you sure you're going to be able to get a word out of him after he chipped a couple of teeth?
I was going to say, we're going to have to talk about that table spot for sure. I don't know, if everyone loved it, but it was definitely cool to watch, to see the Icon Sting get up there in 64 and try and make a table spot. But speaking of WWE, speaking of Money in the Bank weekend, let's get into it with Rob Ryan and Mike B. are on the panel. What is your least favorite thing? You can go overall in the world of wrestling because you guys weren't on with us last week. Maybe specifically WWE if you wanted to go, but either you guys want to jump in?
Yeah, I'll start. I'm sticking with WWE, but it's not the product on our screens. It's more the backstage of these reporters just breaking news of, oh, Vince is deleting this, Vince is changing this, Vince is changing that. I'm over it all. Yes, Vince has gave us the reasons in the past to doubt him, but since coming back, he's had one bad show, and that was the Raw after Mania. Since then, I've had no complaints. There's been good product on our screens. Maybe, yes, because it's the Bloodline. Yes, on Raw, there's Cody, there's Seth, but there's nothing really that I'm going to complain about with Vince. As of right now, yes, there will be times when there is, well, that's definitely Vince. But as of right now, I've had one bad show since Vince has been back, and since then, there's been good product on our screens in WWE, which we haven't had when it was Vince alone. Ever since Hunter joined the realm of becoming the head of creative, I've had not many complaints about it.
Well, Rob, I'm going to go the exact 180 of you because I'm not over it, because I'm not over Vince swarming his way back into power when he said he was going to retire. And by the way, whether you like CM Punk or not, at least about a year ago, right after Vince tweeted his, I'm going to retire tweet, who was the one guy who said, I don't believe him? He came out and said, you think just because he tweeted that he's going to retire, that things are going to change over there? And look at that. Things haven't changed. Last minute script changes, 2-minute matches. We had women's titles on the wrong brands. We had, oh, by the way, did you miss King of the Ring? Well, you didn't technically because it became Night of Champions. That was a Vince move. Cody versus Brock. We still haven't gotten an explanation, and we're probably going to get one more match at SummerSlam. So what's going on? It's like WWE is getting pulled in 2 or 3 different directions here. And who's at the head of the table in WWE? At least it's Vince. This is all Vince. This is all Vince's fingerprints all over this. So how can you not be over it? How can it not be true? All these reports about Vince meddling and stuff, and we're going to get into it when we talk about the men's Money in the Bank, because I got a bad feeling about this, to quote Star Wars.
See, that's one thing that does scare me, is that I have seen reports that he may have more of a hand in that match than it should be. We've seen in the past where people that are over in WWE, he screws them over just because he gets a good laugh out of it. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hopefully the more the higher ups in creative, aka Triple H these days, can hopefully somehow convince him otherwise, because this match could be great, but with Vince being back, I do agree with that part. There is a slight chance where this match is very underwhelming, which it should not be.
I don't think the match will be underwhelming. I think the result might be leave a bad taste in people's mouth, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, and while we wait for Maniac to get back,
Literally,
there we go.
Hey, the least favorite thing in my fucking existence is my goddamn internet.
I thought you were letting me and Rob like go one-on-one with each other or something, but I guess
I liked it. Well, no, if you saw, I tried to pull up the headline you were talking about where CM Punk was the one guy to call out the Vince situation, but fuck you, streamer. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. But hey, thank you for everybody for tuning in to Wrestling with Emotion, obviously. Yeah, thanks you boys for sharing, obviously, your least favorite things in the world of wrestling. Hey, let's face it, we put a lot of love, a lot of admiration to the world of wrestling, and it gives us the right to be critical for sure. So let's get into it here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. If you have any thoughts, chime in on the chat, obviously. But let's get into it. Now, by the way, typically we update the match standings with a smaller panel. What we're going to do is we're going to roll the Money in the Bank shows. This will give us 20 picks to add to the records, and we'll allow a little bit more standing shuffling than we typically see. So we'll be on the update on those the next show. I know that people typically look for them. Obviously, Partham's still at the top. Rob Ryan is making his way up, though, so we'll keep an eye there. Speaking of making his way up, one man who has been at the top of the totem pole for basically feels like as long as the tribal chief, Gunther, the Ring General, taking on Matt Riddle in England. I'll lead it off. Hopefully a great spot for Riddle here. I'm sure they'll put on a great match, but I just can't see any way Gunther loses this.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Gunther. I mean, we've seen in the past, obviously, Roman, there's been those times where it's like, all right, this is over. Why is he still this champion? But with Gunther, the Ring General, I actually have loved his reign. There's not been many times where it's like, all right, this is enough. He's kind of rebuilding the prestige of the International Championship, which for years, along with the United States Championship, was just dead in the dirt in this company. And I'm really loving it, and I think it's going to keep going for a while. I really think he will break the record of the longest Intercontinental Champion of all time. So I'm going with the Ring General, Gunther.
I'm not sure I don't know who your picks would be to take the title off of Gunther after he has a nice long record-breaking, surpass the Honky Tonk Man's title reign record. But I do know it's not going to be Matt Riddle. But bring yourself back in, guys, because I got a question. Do we expect Randy Orton to return tonight during this match? Or after the match? Yeah, I'm thinking Gunther beats Matt Riddle, Imperium beatdown afterwards, Orton's music, new music, if you haven't heard it yet, hits. He comes out to sort of chase everybody off, but maybe if they want to do the heel turn right then he RKO's Matt Riddle out of nowhere.
I do think there'll be a return in this match. I'm not sure if it's Randy. I think Drew could also be another one that could be reinstalled into this discussion, because I think Gunther and Drew would become a good match. But, I mean, both of them been rumored to come back soon. Obviously, Drew is more of the healthier one at the time. But I could see a Randy entrance here, and possibly I mean, maybe to help out Riddle with being attacked. I don't know if he's going to make that turn because I do think RK Bro is not done with yet. But I could see Randy coming in this match.
It would mean a lot, especially with people thinking RK Bro could be done. Randy could be done, obviously, for him to come back. And yeah, you're right. I think it sets up perfectly. Ludwig Kaiser and co. Post-match beatdown, hit the new music. Randy comes out. Maybe a flurry of like RKOs kind of ends up, accidentally taking out Riddle as well amongst that craziness, obviously, like you said. But I think no matter what, good odds on a Randy return for sure, Parthy. And you got Gunther, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we all have Gunther in a clean sweep. And speaking of a sweep, to be honest, some of these matches and some of the material with the Women's Tag Team Championship is putting me to sweep. With that said, we got Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defending against. This is a great trope, and they've definitely used it better in wrestling in the last, or especially WWE the last 5 or 10 years. The team that never lost their titles, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. What do you guys have happening, or why don't you start us off, Parthy?
After Ronda basically politicked to get the titles put on them, but of course they had to recover from their respective injuries first. I don't see them taking the titles off of them anytime soon. They want to build up the tag division by having credible opponents to defend their titles against. Liv just got back, and this is the only reason they're doing this match is to legitimize Ronda and Shayna as the legitimate tag title champions, as opposed to, it got taken off of Liv and Raquel due to injury.
See, I disagree. I think it was more that they put it on Ronda and Shayna. Yes, because obviously they were trying to build it up. But I think it's more of Ronda and Shayna were the only two that were in this room at the time that could have any viability of capturing both the WWE one and the NXT one, which it's been rumored for a while to do that. Obviously, they finally did it. But I think they did not expect Liv to be back this soon, and I think that's why this match was made so quickly. So I'm going with Liv and Raquel to regain the titles that they never lost.
Interesting. I don't hate the Liv and Raquel angle, and actually McAdoo and Slick are on Liv and Raquel. Micah is on Ronda and Shayna after we had a clean sweep on Gunther. I am going to go Ronda and Shayna just because I feel like it would be too much craziness to put back the titles on Liv and Raquel. You'd kind of have a net nothing situation. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with Ronda and Shayna, but it seems like they're trying to build them back up. So I will go with Ronda and Shayna to win this one, and probably a dominant performance, unfortunately. Truthfully, I did think, the NXT champions are going to hold on to that, but we'll go with Ronda and Shayna to hold on and take that title down. This next match will probably get to be the most one-sided reactions all night. We have Cody Rhodes taking on Dominic Mysterio with Mommy Rhea Ripley. This is an interesting scenario because Cody should realistically win this match. I would say finish the story is kind of completely off the rails at this point. I want to just note that as well. I respected it at first. I thought it was maybe, you take out Brock Lesnar once or twice, and maybe you do end up at SummerSlam versus the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. They could still do that, but it does feel completely off the rails at this point. I'll start it off. I will go with Cody to win this match, ultimately take it down. But again, the finish of the story feels completely off the rails to me at this point. What do you got, Rob?
Yeah, you know me, I'm a big finish the story type of guy. I thought at first he didn't really need the struggle, and then really looking into it, possibly need the struggle. I do agree that it's kind of off the rails right now. But I'm really looking forward to that SummerSlam match between Brock and Cody. And I do think, unfortunately, Brock is going to be back tomorrow. Obviously, that's clear. They need to start setting up that Brock versus Cody 3 match at SummerSlam with some stipulation. And I think Brock is going to somehow interfere and give Dominic Mysterio the win. And it's just another one of those non-clean wins, non-clean losses for Cody, because obviously you can't really give him a clean loss these days right now. So sadly, I'm going to go with Dom with a Brock interference.
You see, I could see that happening, except, I mean, you're really going to put Dom over Cody, the Golden Boy, the heir apparent to John Cena, when you didn't even put Dom over his own Hall of Fame father, who could have done the honors and passed on to his son, a win at WrestleMania. They're going to give Dom a win over Cody? I can see that scenario happening. It's just, it's Dom, and Cody's supposed to be the next guy in line for the title shot to probably take the title off of Roman Reigns if they ever decide to do it. But yeah, I do expect Brock Lesnar to come back and reignite his feud with Cody. But does he do it during the match or just after the match? I'm going to go with Cody. I'm going to go with the safe pick for the time being. Because, yeah, Brock can show up after the match. It doesn't have to be during the match.
I was going to say, do we get Brock just comes in mid-match and starts leveling Cody. Dom gets the disqualification win. Or no, I'm sorry. Takes out Dom right when he comes in, and Dom gets the disqualification win over Cody. And then, obviously, he could take out both, but the following weeks, Dom could brag about having beaten Cody Rhodes, etc., etc. I could see it playing out that way as well.
They were saying on SmackDown tonight, at least Michael Cole was referring to this as the main event. And
they were. There's been a lot of upheaval that people are saying this is the main event.
It's one of those triple main events that they've been doing for these PLEs.
Yeah, but there's only one main event.
Yeah, no, they need to really stop that. They really need to stop with that bullshit, honestly. And I know they won't because it's WWE, that they'll always do the Survivor Series, the only night they go head-to-head all year, all that bullshit, but they really need to stop with the triple main event.
It's what they tried to sell to Punk back at WrestleMania 29 when he was facing The Undertaker. Oh, you're one of the 3 main events. And he's like, no, there's only one main event.
That's why it's called main event.
They put Cody on the main event in Puerto Rico when, Bad Bunny, Damian Priest clearly should have main evented.
Yeah, that would. I mean, you're absolutely right. We are split on that. We have Rob and Slick L thinking Dom gets it done, and the rest of us believing it'll be Cody. This next match, we've talked about it, a variety so far. This will probably be the best one-on-one match of the night. I'm going to go out and say Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn Balor. To cue it up, I think Seth retains. I think we'll all have that, but I think we get a 20-minute classic as far as WWE is concerned in this. Parthy, what do you got?
Yeah, I have Seth retaining. It would be a nice, bookend to the story if Finn were to win a title from Seth after he had lost the title because Seth injured him the first Universal title match. But no, that Seth still has to establish that title first, and he's got to do it with some big wins over some credible opponents. So I don't see it. I could see maybe if they did this match at Survivor Series with all that story behind it, maybe they could take the title off of Rollins onto Balor, and then maybe Seth wins it back at WrestleMania or something. But no, it's a little too soon. I'd say Seth retains.
Yeah, I'm going Seth retains. This is a match that's 7 years in the making. Obviously, we all know what happened at the last time they faced off in a title match. I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for the last 7 years to get these two back, and now they're even better in their careers. They're two of the top opponent guys in WWE at the moment, and I'm just looking forward to this banger of a match, but Seth is going to obviously win this one.
Okay, we have a clean sweep for Seth freaking Rollins. So far, 2 sweeps, Gunther and Rollins. Next coming up, we have our women's Money in the Bank match. And I will say that, I feel like the women's division really needs this. They need a spark outside of their championships. For sure, it's been kind of the usual suspects for the last 2 to 4 years here. So I might be the usual suspects with the win. But we'll see who gets it done between Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus. If you've looked at the odds, things have definitely been moving in a certain direction. Have you guys looked at those at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So obviously the odds are moving heavily into Io Sky. She would definitely be, she would fit the trajectory, right? She's kind of middling. It would be hilarious to have Bayley kind of like Christianing the Money in the Bank briefcase through Io Sky, if that makes sense, like saying it's kind of like hers and everything like that. And honestly, it would elevate, what I think a lot of people view as a mid-carder in the women's division. So I think it's a win-win. I don't know about Io Sky's promo work, which would be an issue with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I don't say, I'm just not as familiar with it from NXT and whatnot. So I'm not sure how well it will play out there. But yeah, I think that no matter what, you don't put it on Becky Lynch. You don't put it on Zelina Vega. You maybe put it on like a Trish or an Io Sky or a Bayley, but yeah, I guess Io Sky will get it done. I'll go with the odds. I'll ride that wave. I'm going to go with Io Sky. What do you got, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going with Vegas. I'm going Io Sky. We saw what she did against Asuka back at think it was Night of Champions they faced off, and that was just a great match. We kind of saw it on the Grayson Waller show a couple weeks ago. We've seen the dismay between Bailey and Io. They're going to go their separate ways eventually, and I think Io could be a star in this company for years to come, so I'm going with Io.
Yeah, Io Sky's my pick too. I don't think that Bailey would attempt to Christian Cage the briefcase. I think, despite the language barrier, Io Sky is not as oblivious as a Luchasaurus or something. My question is, what I'd like to see the odds on. Io or whoever wins this briefcase, are they going to hold it more than 24 hours for a change?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, just because there are no other women's matches to cash it in on tomorrow. So, yes.
Well, they could do it on Raw. Because it's,
Well,
it's either been at the event or the next night on Raw. Or, well, it's on a Saturday, so technically it'd be 48 hours. But you know what I mean.
Depending on
I'll throw it up here. Will they hold on to it past October 1st?
What is that? That's
I would like to see it. I
That's
think that it was great when
SummerSlam.
Carmella had it. And I mean, even though they used Ellsworth and everything, I feel like holding the Money in the Bank title is an asset to the storyline and storytelling, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that they hold it for an extended period.
How many PLEs is that? That's SummerSlam and Payback?
Clash
So
at the
October
Castle
1st?
too.
If there is one. Is there a Clash at the Castle?
No.
No, there's the Indianapolis one. What's that? That's Fastlane is after Payback.
Yes.
So it's possible.
I think I could see it happening. I would take those odds right now. I don't know what they are.
I could
but
see
I would
it.
take them.
I could see it happening at SummerSlam, given what we saw tonight on SmackDown with Charlotte, Bianca, and Asuka. Maybe they have a triple threat match, and whoever comes out of that gets cashed in.
AKA Charlotte winning that, and just for her number, and we could see it. It's happened before.
I don't see that. I don't see anybody cashing in on Rhea.
Hell no. Nobody's cashing on Rhea Ripley, that's for sure, because no one's going to get to her. But the Judgment Day is not going to allow her to become vulnerable, and definitely her dom-dom is not allowed to. You know, shout out to WWE. Great card we put together here for. Obviously, they're killing the international events, and they want Money in the Bank to be a part of that. All kinds of great options on this card. Saturday, July 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And speaking of great options, you can get great options at Outlet Liquor. Make sure you make it your place to buy a case. George Urban Boulevard, make it your spot pre-July 4th and get ready for the fireworks. And speaking of fireworks, ooh, baby! This one, you know, for the first time in a while, it feels like a match with Roman Reigns can kind of go either way, I would say. You got the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa with the wise man Paul Heyman versus the Usos. This is going to be a blood feud. They're hyper fast tracking this. It happened one night, and then you had the Usos on the show the next week saying like, let's go, let's rev it up. They are going this a little bit quicker than I expected, even though it finally boiled over after so long. With that said, I will lead off here, and I will go with the Usos. This is a great opportunity to give Roman Reigns another L. And again, he doesn't need to take it. I don't know if this is the spot where Jey Uso pins Roman Reigns. I think that maybe gets more teased than anything, like maybe a 2.9 after a super kick or something like that. I think ultimately maybe Roman Reigns will spear Solo Sikoa and then, get like knocked out of the ring or something, and Solo will be pinned and the Usos will win. Rob, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Usos. I'm not really sure how this one could finish. I really don't think they're going to give the pin to Roman yet. I just don't think they want to do that yet. But I do think somehow this match will set up how it all started 3 years ago with Jey versus Roman. I'm not really sure. I think Roman will win that match, but this will somehow set up at SummerSlam Jey versus Roman for the story that maybe we've all been talking about the whole time. Maybe we're not.
That would be the real story to finish. With all due respect to Cody.
Jey's story, main event Jey Uso, and I think the Usos win this one. It sets up that SummerSlam matchup between Jey and Roman, which we've been waiting for 3 years now.
There's a SummerSlam match to set up here, but I don't think it's necessarily a singles match. I think it's the Bloodline 4-way for the titles. I mean, and there's only one way to do that, is have Jimmy and Jey both simultaneously get the pin. Now, would they have the balls to do it on Roman, or are they going to save that for the title change? Which I think they should. But if anybody was going to get a single non-title pinfall on Roman Reigns, it would be Jey Uso, at least in part, somewhat. I thought of the exact scenario, Maniac, that you spelled out, that Roman goes for a spear on one of the Usos, he misses, he hits Solo, they throw Roman out of the ring, they super kick Solo, and they get the pin. Solo would be the one to take the pin, but there was whispers about a major upset at this pay-per-view on one of the matches, and when you hear about the Usos and Solo going over things at an undisclosed location, you got to know that there's going to be some sequence in the end that's going to be major big or something. I don't know if that means Roman's going to get pinned or if just the Usos getting a victory over Roman despite whether he gets pinned or not. But I definitely think that the way you set up any kind of championship match involving the Usos at SummerSlam, they got to win this one.
Okay, I like it. We have a sweep except for McAdoo taking Reigns and Sikoa. Love to see it. Love to see it. Standing by his guys, though. So now it is main event time. Well, on the pick. So we got men's Money in the Bank. Really a number of ways they could go here. I will say, with all due respect to Rob, I don't see Butch or Santos Escobar taking this one down. Ricochet, a little bit of a longer shot, but man, I'll tell you what, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, they would all be absolute, superstars with the Money in the Bank briefcase, in my opinion. With that said, I think it's time. I think that this is going to be an 8 to 9 month Money in the Bank reign, and it's going to the guy, who needs it? The guy who's riding that momentum, LA Knight. Rob, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's been a times at first I thought maybe it could be Shinsuke, but he's kind of slowed down. There were times where I thought maybe Logan Paul, but with what LA Knight's doing, there's just everybody's going to be saying LA Knight. Yeah.
I wish I could say LA Knight. I want to say LA Knight. I should say LA Knight. But ultimately, the guy who comes down with the hammer is the guy in the big chair, whether he's sitting at Gorilla or sitting at Connecticut. And that's Vince McMahon. And if Vince McMahon wants Logan Paul to win, then Logan Paul is going to win. If Vince McMahon wants all the eyes of the world on that briefcase being in Logan Paul's video shoots or his TikTok videos, YouTube, wherever he does his stuff, and he wants that news on ESPN and all the wires and the major media outlets, whatever the heck. I mean, LA Knight said it best. He was almost fired before he got this little manager role, and then they finally melded him back into LA Knight. But all Vince cares about is, getting celebrities in and getting more eyes on the product. And he doesn't care how he does it. And he doesn't care who he walks over to do it or who he has to nudge to the side who deserves their shot to do it. So it should be LA Knight. I want it to be LA Knight, but I don't trust Vince McMahon. So it's going to be Logan Paul, unfortunately, for all of you.
Wow, that would be very unfortunate. Although, honestly, like you said, it would be pretty cool to see it on all the videos and everything with him carrying around.
I would love to see the TikTok videos for 14-year-olds just about the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't love to see it? Well, hey, seeing I love to see it, our picks are in the book. You can check them out here. Again, for...
Who do the other guys got?
We got... Micah has Damian Priest. McAdoo has Logan Paul, and Slick L has LA Knight. So we have 3 sweeps, Gunther, Rollins, and Io Sky. But then besides that, it's a wide open card for Money in the Bank, boys. Any final thoughts?
Let's just hope Vince doesn't screw it too much.
I've heard that the Money in the Bank might actually open the match, the men's Money in the Bank. That would be kind of interesting. Do we get right away one of the most up in the air matches? Like, we could see Cody Rhodes going either way. We could see the Bloodline Civil War going either way, but we could see a good reason for either of those matches going either way. But this Money in the Bank match is going to basically tell us a lot about who's in charge, who has the biggest influence, and what their priorities are going forward.
Well, you know who has a recent little beef with Seth Rollins is social media megastar Logan Paul after his loss at WrestleMania.
He did mention it tonight. He has beef with both of those guys. He's faced them
both. He has
both.
unfinished business with Roman, yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. Okay, well, hey, folks, make sure you never finish your business with us. Make sure you're always following along Wrestling with Emotion here on Trainwreck Sports, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. Tomorrow, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Money in the Bank. WWE careers will change forever, but kudos to our panel for changing this show forever. Mike Partham, Rob Ryan, and myself, Maniac. Make sure you're following at Mike Partham, at Rob Ryan 1108.
Robbie Ryan 108. Come on,
Robbie
Maniac.
Ryan
We're
108.
Get
Okay,
one
it's
day.
been a little while, but hey, don't follow me, folks. Just make sure you subscribe and make sure you're liking, make sure you're following along on the show where it's not wrestling with your conscience. It's not wrestling with your budget. It is wrestling with emotion. Yeah.